Hi there gamers, it's the Immortal Adrian here and we're playing Valheim, and in this episode I'm going to show you how to build, show you some tips and tricks and how to get the best out of the build tools. Now you can build in the forest if you want, but you end up having to chop out all the stumps. It's handy because the trees are close, but then you have to chop out all the stumps. I've chosen to build in the meadow here. Just have a look around, make sure there's not too many rocks around, because in the early stages of the game you can't do anything about those rocks until you've killed the first boss and you've got a rock breaker. Here's a little stone, I can pick that up. So there's a rock over here, and there's some wood and stuff, we can deal with that. So right here is where I'm going to build. Now there's a set order that you have to build things. If you're doing this for the first time, then it's a little bit strange because you have to build a crafting bay before you can build a house. And then you have to have a house before you can use your crafting bay. Now, if that doesn't make any sense, let me explain. First thing we need to do is have a hammer. Open your inventory and build a hammer for 3 wood and 2 stone. Craft that and you'll get a hammer. Now that we've got a hammer, I've got mine in slot 1. So let's press 1 and right click and it opens the build panel. Now I've got more stuff available here because my character's leveled up a little bit. But I'll pretend that he's just a beginner. Now, under crafting, there's a thing called a workbench. Now, we start there. Click that, and it costs 10 wood. So make sure you've got about 20 wood to start. So 10 wood. Now, I want to build my little house here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the workbench over here a little bit, because the workbench will be in the way. Now, you do this in 2 steps. You build a workbench, and then you build your shed, and then you put your workbench inside your shed. So, because it's really hard to build around a workbench. So that's tip number 1. Now, whatever you build, you can destroy and get all the materials back. So don't worry about that. Now that we've got this workbench, we can actually start building. I can start putting down floors and all that kind of thing. But you can see that that's a bit difficult because of the grass. Now, we can't use the workbench for anything other than building. If we try to come up to it and use crafting station needs a roof. So, the next thing we do is build a roof. Now, we come around the back of it here, click 1 to get our hammer up, and then right-click under the building tab, this here wood wall. Let's get a wood wall, and I like to spin it around just so that the inside's facing inside. Get it parallel with our workbench, and come and have a look here. It's going to take 2 of these walls to cover this. So you want the first wall about on the left-hand half, and get it as close as you can to it. Don't be back here. Get it close, and then left-click to place that. Get another one, and place that. Now, the most important tip about this, and building, you're going to be really frustrated, so I'll show you the first and easiest tip. The way to make this go where you want is that crosshair in the middle of the screen. You place that crosshair on the edge, see, of this wood panel that I want here. I put my crosshair on the edge, and now you can see that will snap to there. And if I left click, it's snapped on perfectly. Now, for some people, they can end the video there, because that is the secret to building. On the top, I want to put my crosshair up the top. Not in the middle and not where you think you want the board to go, but the crosshair goes where the join is. So I'm not going to put another wall in there. I'm going to come around the front, right click and call up a roof, thatch roof 45 degrees. Now make sure it's spun in the right direction with using your mouse wheel. Again, crosshair at the top of this board, left click, we'll put a roof in there. Now here we can either place it in the same place by putting our crosshair on the top of the wall, or on the middle of the roof, depending on what's more convenient. Now we've got a couple of roofs. This might be enough. Station is too exposed. If you get that, it wants a bit more roof. Right click, get our hammer up, right click, and I'm going to use this 26 degree thatch roof, and I'm going to spin it around 180 degrees so it's facing that way, and step back a bit, and I'm going to drop it down to, you can see what we've got there. It's kind of a shelter. Now that, I'll get rid of my hammer, get close to it. E. That's usually enough to get it working. Now that's opened our Workbench menu and given us all these options. It's also opened our inventory so we can see what we've got. So now we can work with this. The next thing we need is a hoe. From our Workbench, click the hoe for 5 wood and 2 stone, craft that, get a hoe. I've got my hoe in slot 1. Now, click E again to close the Workbench and we'll come away. Now that we've got a Workbench, let me just get my hammer up and grab, say, a wall, and you might have noticed that there was a dotted line. It's this white dotted line. Now, this is the building perimeter, and it radiates out from our Workbench. So wherever there's a Workbench, you can build anywhere in this particular area. So I want my little house to be about here. So I'm going to get rid of my hammer. I'm going to press 4 because that's where my hoe is. And if you right click, you'll get a couple of options. You probably won't have this one, but you'll have level ground, raised ground, and pathen. Now, pathen or pathen is just for basically getting rid of the grass. It makes it, if you want to cut a path, I'll just do it over here. And for this, you don't need to be in the radius of the building, by the way. So for, just show you pathen, if I click it, it just gets rid of the grass. And it will follow the contour of the ground like that. And I'm left clicking, and it uses up stamina. And you see what it's done. It's carved a little path. So, but what we want is the option 1, which is level ground. Now we'll click that and you can see we get these concentric circles radiating out from a point. Now if I come over here and then left click, I get this flat area, and if I go around me and just keep left clicking, I end up with a nice flat area. See, where it's low it will build up, and where it's high it will cut in. And it levels according to your height, and again it uses stamina. So make sure you got your food up because that increases your stamina. And it levels according to the level that you're standing. If I stand up here, see what happened? It gave us height because it leveled up to the level here. Now I want it to be back down here, so I'll come down here, and that's why the trick is stand in one spot and level around. Don't go walking around, because as soon as you do, you'll get to an unlevel patch. Then move a little bit to where you've leveled, and then move a little bit to where you've leveled, and then level, and keep going like that until you get to a point where this stone starts to show, and it's telling you we can't cut any further there. And you'll see what's happening if I come down. You can see the ground is actually high. Now we have to dig into that. Now the only way you can dig into that is by having a pick, and you need to kill the first boss to get a pick. So I'm going to assume that you're not up to that yet. So now that we've leveled an area here, what we want to do is put down a floor. I've got plenty of wood, so click your hammer, 1, right click, and this wood floor 2x2. Now I'll click that and you put it anywhere you want in this area. Now I'm going to build a 3x3 base just to make things easy. So left click that, and then the floors snap into place very, very easily. There's no problem there. You don't have to get your crosshair at the edge. You just basically drop the board where you think you want it, but it won't go where you're standing, so make sure you're not in the way. Right, so there's a 3x3 floor, and now right click and let's get a wall, and this wall wants to go at the back here, so I'm going to get 3 walls. Again, sometimes they'll go exactly where you want them, but you'll see my crosshair is pointing at the edge of the floor. I can also get the same effect by pointing at the edge of the wall, but I have to be over here a bit so that I can actually get my crosshair on that flat edge. If I'm over here, you saw what happened. It's very difficult to find that flat edge. So working from the floor, it's easier. Now, use our mouse wheel, turn that around, and let's put our walls here, missing requirement. So that means we need more wood. This stuff here is very easy to get, the wood laying on the floor. These small trees, you get a little bit of wood with each one. There's always these trees here that you can spend a little bit chopping down. I've got an iron axe, so it's pretty easy, and I can get that stump out of the ground with about 3 or 4 swings. And but basically you can use your stone axe and you'll get the same result. It just will take you longer and you have to keep sharpening your axe. Now when your axe breaks, you come over to your bench over here and then click E, and then this section here, repair an item, watch my hammer, click that and the hammer is repaired. And I'll click it again a few times and it'll repair all the items that are associated with this bench. Some of the other items are associated with the forge, which is a different workbench. So your same axe can kill these greylings and grey dwarfs. So I think I've got a bit more wood now. I got another 36 wood. So let's just get back to where we were. And I'm going to put in these walls here, and then 2 walls at the front, one on that side, one on that side, and in the middle, a door, this wood door right here. Now you'll see the wood door, it's actually got 3 positions that it can sit in. It can sit flush with the front, flush with the back, or flush in the middle. I like it flush in the middle. You can also use your mouse wheel and have it opening wherever you want. Now, left click and it's in. Now, we have to get rid of our hammer to work it. Now, E will open it. And it'll stay open, and E will close it. If I'm outside, it'll open in. If I'm inside, it'll open out. So that's the way it is with the door. Now, for the roof, basically the same as we did our workbench, and I'm going to use the 45-degree roof because that'll give me enough height. So, and I'm going to run the gable lengthways according to the doors. That means I want my roof around this way. And again, make sure you get it where you want it. So drop 1, 2, 3, and on the other side, spin this 180 degrees. 1, 2, and I'm going to connect it to the other roof because that's easier. Right, now to finish this roof, I want to put something on the top. Now we've got this ridge capping here. Thatch roof ridge 45 degrees or thatch roof ridge 26 degrees. It really doesn't matter. I've been using a 45 degree roof, so I'll use a 45 degree ridge. Now that's what the ridge looks like. Now make sure it's parallel, and again you just want to get your crosshair on the edge of that. You might have to come back here somewhere. Crosshair right on the edge of your roof, and that will sit where you want it. And then left click and it's in. Once the first one's in, come back up here and then work from the front edge. You'll find that that's much easier. Get rid of our hammer to open the door, walk outside and get our hammer back again, and we can drop the last one in there. So there's our roof done. Now that's fully sheltered. It doesn't really need anything high across the back here to consider it sheltered. Now I'm going to bring the workbench in here now. So now I'll drop my workbench in. I'll drop it right up the end there. Workbench is in, and then if I test that, yes, it's good. Now that means I can delete this workbench out here. Now you get this hammer, use your mouse wheel and press the middle wheel is your delete key, and that deletes all of that, and then we collect all the wood. So I get all that wood back that I've used. Give them a grayling. So that's going to do it for this episode. That's building. In the next episode we're going to probably set up a bed and a campfire and everything, but now that we've got the workbench in here, we can do whatever we want. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.